What's up, everybody? This is Sincere from the Standard 81 podcast, and I am back again with another Monday Memoirs. Happy President's Day. I'm sure everybody is out. I hope you guys are enjoying it all. But before I get into this one, let's take a 30-second break, get our minds right, and then we'll come back. Jesus Christ. All right, we're having all kinds of technical issues today. Oh, okay. We are having all kinds of technical issues today, but nonetheless, we're going to do this, and I'm going to share this, and maybe the fact that I am sharing my testimony today. I don't know what the case may be, whatever it is, we gonna get into it. And I'm about to run out of battery on my iPad, so give me a moment. Goodness. Everything is going down today. Everything is going down. Let's see if we can get this bad boy plugged in. Maybe we can get it hooked up somehow. Okay. We're not going to be able to get it hooked up. So we're going to have to basically run through this. All right, here we go. God's grace be with us. Let us get through this whole stream. All right, here we are. So, this is what I want to talk to you guys about today. My testimony. Now, I'm not sure if I've done this before, but I am going to do it now. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got saved and how I started my relationship with the Lord. And then share just a little bit of insight that I have learned in the time. I was about 8 years old when I first came to the Lord. And how I got saved was hearing about hell, right? And I know a lot of people don't hear those messages nowadays about hell. We hear a lot about the love of God, the peace of God, the forgiveness. But needless to say, sometimes there is a time where you need to be told about the consequences of your actions. And nonetheless, I heard a message like that, and that's what brought me back. That's what brought me into the faith, even though I was a PK. I heard the message for myself, and I ran down to the altar and gave my life to the Lord. Not really knowing what I was getting into at the time, but I knew that the place that the pastor was describing wasn't a place I wanted to go, because he described it as a place that was always on fire. It was always hot. You would never get out. And that doesn't even include the torment and everything else that the Bible describes. I just knew I didn't want to be in some place that was hot all the time that I could never get out of. So, needless to say, that was my first encounter in getting saved. I had no idea the journey that I was going to go on after making that particular declaration, getting baptized, and then later on getting filled with the Holy Spirit. And then at the end of your life, you was going to go to heaven. Little did I know that I was going to go through a lot of stuff in finding out that process. Went to college later on, and uh, mother came to me and told me if I didn't get it right, I was going to go to hell. I'm like, how is it possible? Um, I've already accepted Christ. You know, I already said the prayer, got baptized, everything else. She's like, you got to get your life right. Yeah, I know for a lot of people out there, let me say this. When you talking about getting your life right, that's a foreign language because you figure, hey, look, um, what do you mean by getting my life right? And I'm not doing anything bad necessarily, but you gotta understand this. There's our standard of living, and then there's God's standards of living, right? Our God is perfect, and the thing about it is that because God is perfect, His standard is higher than ours. And He's not saying that we gonna meet perfection. No, as a matter of fact, we gonna probably fall short from it. But the thing is, we need to recognize that we are falling far short from it, and we need His help in order to live the kind of life that He wants us to live. In other words, we gotta and we have to accept Him and His Son, because without that particular benefit, and I say benefit for a reason, we can't make it into a kingdom that is perfect. We think we will, and we think we somehow, through our accomplishments and the things that we've done, and all the stuff that we've accumulated, and the things that people say about us, our accolades and stuff like that, we have a chance to make it, and we'll get up to the heavenly gates, and we'll tell God, Oh, look at all that I've accomplished. Look at all that I've done. Look at everything that I did here on earth. And we'll be like, and God will be like most of us and say, wow, great job. Which I don't think he won't say great job. I think he'll recognize what you've done. But the big thing is you didn't have a relationship with him. And just like me, before I actually got involved, and this is why I said I developed my relationship with Christ. I thought just accepting him was enough. Just knowing about him, knowing the stories, reading the Bible, so on and so on, that was enough. But God desires us to develop and cultivate a relationship with him. In other words, the same way you want to develop and cultivate a relationship with an individual, whether it be friendship or a long-term relationship or marriage, is the same way God desires to cultivate fellowship with us. He wants to know the ins and outs. He wants to know what we think. He wants to know our rights and wrongs. And here's the funny thing about it. He already knows all this stuff, but he wants us to be willing to share with him these. He can help fix us, he can help grow us, and he can help turn us into the person that he ultimately wants us to be for him. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought it was wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm done with that part of my life, and now I can move on to the rest. But now, being the age that I am, and it's been years since years old, and committing and recommitting and growing and learning and reading and doing all these other things, I have learned that in order for us to truly inherit the kingdom of heaven, we have to follow a structure. We have to follow a system or design. It's not what we think it is. It's not just uh, once saved, always saved. I know we've heard that a few times. Once saved, always saved. Well, here's how that fits. You can know about God, and God can move upon your heart throughout your lifetime so that you will eventually come to him and inherit his kingdom. But he's not going to force you into his kingdom. He will willfully let you fall away. And as much as it may hurt his feelings, just like when people decide to get out of relationships and get out of marriages, it hurts the other person's feelings. If they're gracious enough, they will kindly let you walk away from everything that you've accumulated together. So will he. And that's the thing you got to know. There's nothing that there's nothing that you can give to him that is more valuable than your life. Because he's already given his life for you. And it's not something you're going to learn overnight. This is a journey. This is a process. This is something that you're going to have to continue to learn and grow with, just as I am, just as I am learning. But here's the caveat. You can't continue to do the same stuff that you always do and think that God is just going to bypass it. At some point, you got to recognize what you're doing is wrong and ask God for help to remove that. Ask God for help to overcome that. Ask God for the help and the strength to move you past that. And that's the only way you're going to overcome. Because without that recognition, without that knowing, and without that particular support, you can forget it. Your inheritance is hell. There is a second life. For all you that believe in that reincarnation, there's a second life. But I said this before. The determination of where you spend that second life is determined by how you live on this earth. And it's not by the things that we think are necessarily important, but it's by the things that he deems. He is the creator of all heaven and earth. He deems are important. So, in sharing that brief part of my testimony and telling you how I've come, how I initially came into the faith, I wanted to share with you that just coming to the Father and saying a prayer is not enough. It's good to recognize your faults, and it's good to recognize that there's something beyond this, but it's not enough. You got to take the righteous steps, the everyday steps, develop the discipline, develop the skills that it takes in order to live the life. And the only way you're going to develop those skills, and the only way you're going to develop that discipline is to get into his word, read your Bible, pray to him, tell him about yourself. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care if you journal every day your prayers. I don't care if you pray out loud. I don't care how you do it. But you got to develop something in order to service your relationship with the Lord. This is part of the reason I talk about relationships and stuff on YouTube, because see, if we can figure out the reason our relationships are failing here on earth, we'll figure out that we need to cultivate better relationships with the one who made us. Pointing out our mistakes and pointing out our weaknesses is one thing. But if we don't make any arrangement to change those, then ultimately we just going to continue to run in the same cycle. And inevitably, it'll lead us to the path of failure. Eternal failure at that. So that's all I'm pretty much going to say about this, because I keep on having all these technical issues, and I don't want to run this up too long. But check out the Standard 81 podcast over there on TikTok. There's a ton of those there. And also check out my Instagram page over at Sincere the Artist. Got a ton of those there. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully we won't have as many technical issues. Peace to you all. God bless.